make it to the junior nationals. So it was interesting. It was hard, and as a kid, the pre-nationals, which was the qualifying event, was a big deal. It was a big deal, and it was a big tournament. You had a place. If you didn't place, you couldn't go. And we had a trials for our senior nationals at that time too. So our senior nationals were big tournaments too, and everyone there had to qualify. And there were some states like California that were deep. Winning their trials for the nationals was tough. Was tough. So judo was different then. One of the differences, and while there were some really good points to this and obviously some bad, but we used to have a 5-point system. It was a bad point system at the time. So what they did is they rewarded good judo. Showed up on screen, missed everything before in the broadcast. Steve just showed. Okay. So since you missed everything, do you want me to go over it? I'm talking. So let me. I'm talking about the beginning of junior judo in the United States. The first junior nationals in 1964. The second one in 1965. The second one was really big. So let me go on. I'm talking about the 5-point system at the time because the promotion of of good judo. So the way it was is that in order to, and it was a bad point system. So if you got 5 points, you were out of the tournament. So if you would win by ippon, you'd get 0 points. If you won by wazari or a decision, you would get 1 point. If you lost by a decision, you would get 2 points against you. And then if you lost by ippon, it would be 3 points. So when you have 9 matches to win at that time, because the divisions were pretty deep, you had to win by ippon. You had to win by ippon. So the judo was taught and fought with that in mind. Now at that time there were no kokas and yukos, and the wazari was what I call a real wazari. That was a throwing with force on your opponent's back, but the full back not hitting the mat. So just a light turn and roll to the back was not a wazari back then. You had to actually throw your opponent. So it was a little more difficult. And the judo was, more dynamic in the United States, and people were doing big judo throws, and it was good to watch. It was good to watch, and the judo that came, the people that came up through that time learned good technique, and learned how to win a match by using real waza rather than trying to win a match by a koka, or now, as a matter of fact, by a little bit of a what I would call would be a yuko in the past, but a wazari. So it did feed into good judo, but we had some difficulties with that. There were some difficulties with that, and the difficulties we had was that you actually could win 5 matches and be out of the tournament. So that became a problem. In the senior nationals, it happened to my brother, and that was the one thing that happened that changed everything. Is that in 1973, my brother won 5 matches in the senior nationals. He had been on the 1972 Olympic team. In 1973, he went and won 5 matches, all by decision, lots because people wouldn't stand up and fight him, and he was out of the tournament. And the powers that be said, it's a good system for judo, but it's not the right system because we can't have people. And it ended up that the winner of that tournament ended up losing twice. So the guy who didn't lose a match, the guy who never lost a match was out of the tournament, and the guy who lost 2 matches won the national championship. And at that time, our national championships were qualifying for the Worlds or the Pan Ams at the time. So it was something that had to change, and we ended up changing the system. And God, it went straight to a repechage then. And if you remember or you don't, in 1972, the repechage system was a crossover repechage. So the way the system was that if you finished number two, if you won the loser's pool, you then crossed over to the other pool to fight the winner. So in doing so, you could actually finish second in your pool and still win first. And it happened in 1972 Olympics. Willem Ruska, one of my favorite judo players, lost a match in the open division to Kuznetsov, came back and beat him in the finals and ended up winning the gold. So it was quite interesting. So let me stop for 1 second and answer a question, if it's okay. The question is, I like to dominate my opponents by holding one hand behind their neck and the other holding their collar. What tip would you give me to prevent them from getting rid of? You like to dominate your opponent by holding one hand behind their neck, that's grabbing high, and the other holding their collar. I imagine you mean the lapel. What tip would you give me to prevent them from getting rid of? Oh, okay. So I would tell you this, and in judo, you need to play close. And if you have the lapel, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand is you grab the lapel and you grab around the neck. So you have a pretty strong grip. Okay? So for me, the grip that's around the neck, I do bend my elbow. My hand isn't up in the air, my elbow still comes down, and my wrist is straight, and I'm blocking my opponent's shoulder so my opponent can't turn to the opposite side. So if I'm a righty and my right hand is around his neck, my right elbow is down, blocking that shoulder. So if I have the lapel after that, the way they would be able to break that grip is either coming under or pulling it off the lapel. What I do is I bring my arms close to my body and I stay close. So the closer you are, the more threatening you are, and the harder it's going to be for them to break it. Remembering at all times that you want to make sure you're aware where you're at relative to your opponent. So keeping your right foot even with your opponent's left foot, if you're a righty, okay, keeping your right hand down, blocking that shoulder, and keeping your posture straight, you're in a pretty threatening position for your opponent. So at that point, it's your time to attack. It's your time to attack. While we're communicating, if you want to let me know what your favorite techniques are, maybe I can go further on this if you'd like. One of the things in judo when you're teaching anybody, but I teach kids and young kids, is spacing is really important. You have to understand spacing. You have to play close. You need space when you do judo, but you also have to be close with your opponent too, so you can control them and use the strength of your body. So you like to do Harai? Well, I mean, you should be in a real good position to do Harai. I mean, the only thing for me is that when you do Harai from a lapel grip and you don't have the sleeve, then you have the issue of your opponent posting out of it, and it's hard to finish the throw because they're going to post. What I would tell you is that at some point, switch your lapel grip to the sleeve and then do the Harai, and then you'll have no problem finishing the throw. So that would be my recommendation. And if you can't get to the sleeve, it's okay to do it from the lapel grip. But from the sleeve grip, you'll get better kazushi, and you'll get a more, let's say, a more complete throw with them not being able to post out of it. I hope that answers your question. And I think that if you're doing Harai, you can step in or you could hook the leg and pivot in like an Osoto Harai. And this way you'll have a threat in both directions. And it's a really good combination to put together. Something I like to do. So good for you. That's a good attack. So let me get back to talking about judo. So you're welcome. So what we did at the time when we changed to the repechage system. And what we did with juniors is we went to a double elimination, and the at some point we went to the double elimination, which I believe is the best, and that's a true double where you have to lose twice in order to be out of the tournament. So I look at junior tournaments as developmental, and all junior tournaments should be this way. And this way, if you lose a match in the tournament, you get to fight back and fight for first. However, the winner of the winners pool, who has not lost a match, would have to be defeated twice to lose the competition. So it's a good system. It's a real good system for development, and it's something that I believe is something we should do in all of our national tournaments. One of the things we do in our American Judo tournaments is that we allow unlimited exhibition matches. So we make sure that regardless of what the system, what the outcome is, you can keep fighting as long as you want, especially if you have some good competitors. Maybe they're your age or maybe they're not, but they're your size. Especially with girls where there's not always a lot of girls there, we can find a way to get more fights for you. And that's what's important. So the other thing that we did in judo years ago is that we did have quite a few judo camps, and what we did also is we ranked our athletes by their competition in the United States. So what does that mean? What that means is that our athletes had to fight in American point tournaments in order to qualify for our trials. Now, I understand the idea of being ranked in the world in order to go to the Worlds or the Olympics. But the thing about that's really problematic for U.S. Judo is that our top athletes don't fight. Not only do they not fight each other, they don't fight in the United States. So what happens is that by not fighting in the United States, it takes away the ability for people in that division to fight them, feel them, watch them, and it keeps them from fighting each other, the top players. And the more you fight the top players, the better you're going to be. So I think that's a real problem today. So, our top players that even though we don't have many, but the ones that end up going to the Olympics are ones that we never see fight in the United States ever anymore. When I was competing, I had a fight in the Nationals, had a fight in the U.S. Open, and I had a fight in other. I mean, if I wanted to be on number one, and stay number one on points, I had to go to Canada. At that time, it was a rendezvous tournament. We had a ladder tournament that we all had to go, and it was the top 7 in the country. So we were fighting each other all the time, And the international tournaments, what we had at that time was a tour that started, in France, that went to France, Austria, Germany, Hungary, and Czech, and then went on from there. In order to go there, we had to be number 1 or number 2 and be chosen by our organization. And, it was, in many ways that was better for the United States. Now, maybe it's not better for other countries, but it's better for the United States. So the people in the United States are looking only now for how they could find a way to get enough points to qualify for the Olympics or for the World Championships. And they're not fighting all the time, And when I look at our current world team, I haven't seen a lot of them fight in the tournaments recently. So I think it doesn't bode well for the United States, where we don't have training camps all the time, and we don't have the amount of numbers they have in Europe and in Asia, where we can constantly train at a high level. It makes it very challenging. And I would say, without any disrespect to any athletes, that's why we're not, winning a lot of matches and winning medals anymore. So that's that. And it's not any disrespect to the athletes. They all do the best they can. I think if we had a better system, to force them to compete more, I think it would be better. And that's just my opinion. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about before I show some videos and go over some videos is that one of my issues when I teach people that have been doing judo for several years is that they don't look at judo as a game. So when I use an analogy, I use because kids that do judo today are not necessarily playing other games like baseball, football, or basketball, or even soccer. So I use chess as an example with my students because a lot of them play chess. And they understand that they look at a board, they know where the pieces go, and they understand that every move has a reason. Their opponent moves, and after their opponent moves, they decide where they're going to move. And you could relate that to judo if you understand the game of judo. Every move you make in judo is for a reason. How your opponent reacts to what you do is how you decide what you're going to do next. And if you're not taught that from the beginning, it's hard to be good at judo. Just like chess. I'm not a good chess player. I know where the pieces move, but I don't know how to play. I don't understand the game well. So for me, it's hard to play chess. So I think that for people that are learning and people that are teaching, I think it's really good at a young age to start slowly teaching the game of judo. What do we do in this situation? What happens here? We're fighting, our opponent's doing this. What does this mean for us? What are our options? So again, we're teaching them at a young age, slowly, but teaching them the game. And for those of you that understand baseball, it's no different than taking an athlete and the first time they ever hit the ball, you take them by the arm and you show them how to run to first base. Because until that happens, they don't know. So we can't assume that people know the game of judo. What do I do in this situation? How do you not know? No one ever taught me. So for those of you that are teachers, we need to teach the game. And those of you that are athletes or just players, we need to learn the game. Because if you were to ask me a situation like Louise did, I would have an answer. When I do my ouchigari, my opponent does this. What should I do? Here's the next move. When they do this, you do this. I understand there's always a place to go. There's always a reason. There's always a reason. And that has to be taught. Now, again, in our sports, like in the United States, like baseball, football, and basketball, they have on TV, you get a person that is a commentator on the game. They announce the game, they tell what's happening. And then what they do is they have what they call a color commentator that tells why it's happening. And it's easy to learn. And if you are able to watch some of our top competitions, when Neil Adams is commentating, he does a real good job of breaking down why people do things. So it's a good place to learn. It's a real good place to learn. So it's important to learn the game. And I say this to my students all the time. A great technician that doesn't play the game good is an average judo player. A good judo player that plays the game great can be Olympic champion. Okay, so I have another question here. You can explain how a senior can make it to the Olympics. What tournament points do must go to? Okay. So I would tell you to get the official, you go to the the IJF website, and you can get the actual written ways to make the Olympic team. There are qualifying competitions. You have to qualify by the points you have, and the points are by country. So if you understand that they don't have a simple flowchart for USA Judo, so here's what I want you to do, Mr. Poston. My email address is steve@americanjudo.com. shoot me an email and I'll get you that information happily. But just so you understand, the system works that if you're in a division where there's 5 Japanese players or 4 French players that are all point players above you, they only get 1 spot. So if there's 5 Japanese players, if you're 20 and 5 of those 20 are Japanese, they only count 1 Japanese, and you're not 20, you're now 16. So that's the way it works, the way they count them. And each tournament, if you take in the top 7, you get points. If you take top 5, you get more points. And there, I'll be happy to find something for you to show you what it is. I know it, but I'm not working with athletes right now that are at that level. We're more at the level just below there, getting them ready. But yeah, I'm happy to do that. But now, I mean, the reason why it's so hard to medal in the Olympics is that every person there is qualified. Every person is qualified and they're seeded. So you can't get a good draw. Every quadrant has a hard player. Every quadrant. So it's really hard. It's really hard. Now, mind you, before there were seedings, I mean, it still was hard. I mean, when I fought the Japanese, Korean, Soviet, German, I mean, everyone was good. Everyone was good. But now if you draw someone from a country that isn't necessarily known for being good at judo, you'll know that person is good because that person is qualified. Now, outside of being the host country at the Olympics, because the Olympics, the host country gets a spot in every division. So in 2028, when the Olympics is in Los Angeles, we will have 8 men, 7 men, and 7 women, I believe. 1 in each division. So I don't know if they've chosen their selection process yet. My guess is there'll be some kind of trials, but I have no idea. But yeah, that's how they do that. So again, I was talking about the game. And just like any other game, as you get up in different levels, you find people play the game differently. And one of the things I've watched, which I really like, is that because we have golden score, I've seen matches where there are players that are in great, again, maybe not the best in technique, really good, but not the best, but they know the game. They will fight a player that's better than them technically for 4 minutes, but in 6 minutes it changes because all of a sudden the better technician is a little tired and the one that's technique is not as good, but they know the game better. At that point, they obviously they're there because they're in great condition and they're strong and they understand the game. So as the length of the match goes on, the one who's in the best condition ends up having an advantage as opposed in the beginning, the one who has the best technique. So it's interesting how you do it. So I've seen matches where someone has 2 Shidos, they're barely hanging on after 4 minutes, and then at the 6-minute mark, the person that's dominating the match has 2 Shidos and can't stand up anymore or can't fight as well anymore. So, I mean, it's a real strategic game, and the people that play it best usually end up on top. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. And I will tell you that Travis and I will have a discussion in one of our future calls on that because Travis is very strategic in how he wins a match. Very interesting. It may take the whole hour listening to him, but that's okay. He's very strategic on how he uses time in a match, well aware of every rule. Smart player. People that are smart are really hard to beat. So that's pretty interesting. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to go show a few videos and go over some techniques, some that I have done at our live sessions. But I'm going to go over some techniques. I'm going to go over a couple ouchigari and a couple taitoshi. I don't have access from today, right now, to other techniques that I've saved. But if you have something you'd like, me to show, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. But certainly for the future, I will. And I would absolutely do it at my live coaching sessions because I spend a lot of time doing it. But so I'm going to start showing some videos with an understanding that when I teach judo, I look at it when I start with an athlete, I'm building from the ground up. So I want to make sure my athlete can go in every direction and they can use their ability to go in every direction to force their opponent to respond. And good players know how to get their opponent to respond and react. So I think I'll start. I'll start with one video that I had ended with, so you can understand what I'm talking about. Just give me 1 second. Window. Open. Share. Satoshi session. Bear with me a second while I get this one here. Oh, I'm sorry, I went the wrong one. Ojigari session. Let me see if I can do it this way. I'm here. I'll go here. I hope everyone can see the video. So what I'm going to do is this is Aaron Wolf, who's an Olympic champion. Let me stretch this out so we can see this better. There we go. So we're going to watch how he sets up his Ouchigari. It's really good how he goes from both sides. So we'll do this quickly and then we'll go over it slowly. Watch how he goes back there. He attacks that. He does Yosoto, and now he comes for the Ochi. How beautiful. So we're going to break this down a little bit. So once he gets two hands on it, he's going to attack his opponent's right side. So he's going to fake a switch. So look how he responds. He faked the switch. He's attacking the right leg. Comes up, goes after the left leg for Osoto. So now, in order for him to stop the Osoto, he's going to switch his weight to this leg. And that's where Aaron hits him with. Look at that. Oh, that's just beautiful. That's beautiful. So we'll watch this again a little faster. Watch. He hits one side, hits the other side, now right into the Ochi. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's see how I can do this. Let me just get rid of this one. Okay. So I hope you were able to see how being able to force your opponent to respond, is something that is we can't see the video at the moment. Let's see what I did wrong. Let me try this again. Share screen. Window. Cancel. Hold on here. I'm sorry. Let me try this one more time. Thank you for telling me. Ouchie Wolf. Okay. Bear with me for a second. I'm just going to open up a few videos here. Okay, so let me see if I could do this. Okay, share screen, window. Hold on. Let me try this again. Share screen, window, Wolf, share. Let's see how this goes. I'm sorry. I'll try this one more time. Share screen, window. Share. There we go. Let me just see real quick. You can see it. We can't see it. Now you can. Okay. Here we go. So let me go over this one more time. I apologize. So here is Aaron Wolf. He's Olympic champion. Okay, what did I do here, guys? Oh boy. Shoot. Bear with me, guys. I'm sorry. Here we are. So what I was saying is that we're going to watch Aaron Wolf work both sides. First, he's going to go attack his opponent's right side. Now his left side. Now he's going to come in and hit the ochi. I'm going to go over this slow one more time. I apologize. So watch here. He wants to set up the ochi. So understand that Aaron Wolf does ochi. Everyone knows that, but the great players that have great techniques know how to get the techniques off. Whether it's Inoue doing Uchimata, whether it's Abe doing a Seanagi, Koga doing his opponent Seanagi, anyone, you have a great technique, you have to be able to get it off. So here, he fakes the switch there. He comes back and draws a reaction. Now he comes to the other side. And look how he's got to lean over here to stop that Osoto. So now he moves in, and it looks like he's coming for Osoto right there. It looks like it. As his opponent goes to lean, he hits that ochi. Just perfect. Just perfect. We're going to watch this one more time again. Gets the grip, hits one side, hits another side, then right into the ochi. Beautiful. I hope you guys saw that. That's picture book judo for me. That's picture book judo because he's forcing his opponent to react. He's threatening his opponent, he's forcing him to react, and then he's hitting it. Now, obviously, he practices this all the time. He's practicing all the time, and you're learning. And you're learning how to use the game. Now, chances are his opponent would have reacted differently, and he would have chose a different route. But I imagine he's done that combination many, many times. And it's just beautiful. Just beautiful to watch. So, where am I here? Let me get here. So I am going to go. Let me see what else I was going to show you here. I'm going to show you one more ouchigari. Let me go out of this one. Can we all see this one here? Let me see if Dylan's with me. All right, I'm showing you one now. If you can't see it, let me know. So this is one of my favorites, obviously, because Bob Berlin was my student when he was younger, and one of our great American judo players. And this is his match, his semifinal match in the '84 Olympics, and he uses ouchigari off the grip to do it, and it's just a. And Walter Carmona is a great player too. It's right here off the grip, coming in, and that's the score that got him. Let's stop that. Let's see if we can go back here. Can we go back? We can. We'll do it slow. So, left hand on lapel. He brings his arm in, and when he brings it in, he forces a reaction backwards. You could see Carmona leaning back. Look at his knees. He's leaning back. By pulling in, he forced the reaction. And as Carmona's leaning back, he hits the ouchi. Now watch how he's turning his chest out. Look how he's turning. Driving over the shoulder. Keeping turning, keeping driving, down. Perfect. Just beautiful. I'm going to move it back so we can watch it one more time. Let's watch it again. He's going to draw the reaction backwards. Look at it. Perfect. Perfect. And here, just for the sake of it, we could watch the end of the match, knowing you're going to the finals in the Olympics. Pretty cool. That's one of my favorites. Hope you guys are getting to see it. Let me get a couple more videos before we go. Give me 1 second. Open these up. I wanted to show you. Oh, this one too. That's good enough. Okay. So let me see what I can do here. Okay. All right. Sorry for the delay. Let me go here. Screen share, window. Share. Okay. One of my favorite players today is Dennis Viru. Does beautiful judo. Jimmy likes this ouchigari. Yeah, Jimmy's ouchigari was a little different, Luis. Jimmy went to his knee, and I've got plenty of videos on that. And I will tell you that because the way he does it now, the way he did it then is not legal now, because he came down to the leg. I don't show it as much, but yes, he had a great ouchigari, a great ouchigari. I just the way the system is, I don't have access to just grab it real quick. But let's go to watch Dennis and what we're going to do is watch Dennis and how he sets up his tayo, and he does it really really well. So what we're going to watch here is that Dennis is going to use his right foot to draw his opponent's left foot back. In doing so, and with his kazushi getting all his weight on his opponent's right foot to open up the tayo. You see that? Watch it slow. He sets it up here, and look how he sets that up. So even though his opponent's moving back, I'll do it slow, okay. And look at the control with the right hand. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm going to show this again. So we'll do this slow. This is not an easy thing to learn to do. Because to go backwards to throw forward is something that you have to develop a feel for. So watch his move as he comes into the foot sweep. He's moving his hand to get in position for tayo, even though his opponent can't tell that yet. But he's getting his hand ready to be in position for tayo. So he forces the step back. Look at this. Look at this. Dennis's left hand is pulling. His right hand's getting in position toward the head now to start the tayo. Look at this position. So as he steps in, see his hand by the head? All the weight is on the front right foot. And then the tayo comes. Beautiful. One more time. Look at this. Look how he sets this up. I guess when you watch it in slow motion, it's easier to see. Look at his hand driving the head. It's beautiful. I mean, that's beautiful judo. Beautiful, beautiful judo. That's how judo's done. You know, and again, talking about the game, understanding how we drive a reaction from our opponent. How do we drive a reaction from our opponent? What do we do? And you practice and you practice and you practice. And listen, and during practice, you're going to fail, but you keep practicing and you learn. And you start getting a feel for how your opponent's going to respond. It's interesting, as we watched the video with Aaron Wolf, how he knew as he went to both sides, how he knew that ouchi was going to be open. Once he felt the resistance on the Osoto, he knew. Does it work faking Kosoto? Absolutely. Absolutely works faking Kosoto. My friend Jason Morris did that, not does that. None of us move like we used to, unfortunately. Jason Morris did that beautifully. Beautifully. Great tayo. Even though his people remember him for Uchimata, he had a great tayo. But I'll show you one more tayo. Let me do this. Oh, this isn't. God. Bear with me 1 second. Let me get the tayo I wanted. So you could say, okay. So here's what I'll do. So here's a classic tayo. This is Jimmy. And just for the record, I didn't know it was Jimmy. This video is transposed. I could tell because the lettering on the back is backwards. But to be honest, I didn't know it right away. I actually thought it was Jason at first. But this is Jimmy. Jimmy's a lefty, but it's shown righty. And this is just a classic tayo. Again, look at the position of his opponent. Shoulders above his hips. Even though his weight is back, this kazushi is going to get it there. Look at this. We're going to call it his left hand, even though it's his right hand in real life. This is transposed. His left hand is pulling out, right hand coming up by the ear, so we could drive the head. Coming straight across. Look at the kazushi. Look at the kazushi. Look at how his opponent is coming forward so much. I mean, kazushi is critical, and perfect. God, I love this tile. So we'll watch this one more time. Just perfect. Yeah, the kazushi. The kazushi is so critical. When you're doing judo, when you're practicing judo, when you're teaching judo, don't cut corners on kazushi. It's really easy to get lazy or your students to be lazy. Do not be lazy with kazushi. It's a critical part of judo. Posture, kazushi, position, all of it. Like the fake Osoto and turn to absolutely fake Osoto Sasai. Yeah, I'm an Osoto guy, so I did that all the time, and I teach that. Great combination. My next coaches session is going to be on Osoto Gari. So if you're interested and you have time, Louise, come on and watch, and you'll see. I'm going to spend. I have a lot of videos on Osoto Gari, and there will be Sasai to Osoto and things like that. So and both. So very good. I'm going to show one more Tayo. Maybe two more, but one more. So here again is Jimmy. I like to eat, showing either my students, my teammates, people I've coached, and I've been fortunate to be around the best American judo players in the world, whether I'm coaching or on my teams. So I have great admiration, and I'd love to show that off. So this is Jimmy in hold on a second. I think this is Swain. This is Mike Swain. Mike Swain is a lefty. Not only is he world champion, at the time he fought, the world championships was every other year, and for 3 consecutive years he made it to the finals, and that's a pretty big feat. And Mike was a phenomenal judo player, phenomenal. So if you watch, I know it's hard to see his one-handed tayo. Look how it just comes out of nowhere. Look there. Just so good. So this is a semifinal match. Let me go back so I could break it down a little bit. So just as he's getting his grip, as his opponent goes to his sleeve, his left hand, which is his power hand, he starts to come across. And look how his turn. There's his right hand kazushi. Look how far the shoulder is already. Beautiful. Just perfect. And that was a semifinal match. Leading into the match, he had to fight Mark Alexander for the finals, which is a great match you can find on YouTube also, where Mike won the Worlds. But the match before this I couldn't find, which I would have loved to show you, where he beat Koga, which is a great match. So now let me show you Jimmy's. God, I hope you can see this. Let me see here. Screen share, window, share. Am I on it? Okay, here we go. Make sure I'm doing this right. So here's Jimmy and Makarov. This is the finals. Actually, Jimmy's looking at me. I'm the one sitting in the I'm the one sitting in the chair there screaming while he does all the work. So this is it, the match for the World Championship. And as we're grip fighting, he gets the sleeve, and here it comes. Beautiful. So Makarov was a gymnast, and he's pretty good at spinning out of the throws, but nonetheless, what a great technique. Let's watch again. Jimmy gets control of the sleeve. Comes across, and here's the step, the kazushi, the step, and the turn. Look how his body curls in here into that taio, curls in. Look how far Makarov is over. I got to be honest with you. That's me over here. I thought the match was over. Unfortunately, Makarov turned out of it. And Jimmy did end up winning the match, and it was quite a day. But nonetheless, beautiful one-handed taio. Beautiful one-handed taio. Okay. I hope you got to see the last video we did. This call is normally going to be me and Travis having discussions about different things, obviously judo, but having discussion of different things and showing videos too. But today I thought I'd break it down a little bit. And for those of you that are interested in breaking down the techniques like I did today a little bit, I spend a good 45 minutes doing that on my coach's live sessions. So you're welcome to join. They're really good, and I break them down, and I do requests. So, gentlemen and ladies, I hope you enjoyed the session. I'm sure you missed Travis. I did. Maybe not as much as you. No, I did. I did miss him. And next time we're together, Travis and I will be here. We'll be talking judo. I appreciate you guys giving us feedback. Anyone that has any questions, feel free to email me at steve@americanjudo.com. I'm happy to do that. If you have any issues with your judo, I'm happy to look at a video or even do a Zoom call with you guys to help you out. Okay? So I enjoyed spending time with you. You have a good rest of the weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.